Finally, Rum appeared. This is how the writer wants us to believe. Chapter 1, 127 verse with hints, and all eyes are on one man, Wakita Kanenori, and his actions, his eyes, his past. Everything says this is Ram. But wait a moment, does this make sense? Is this how the second most dangerous person in the organization is revealed? Where is the twist? Where is the trap? Where are the explosions we are used to from Oigad? Since when has he given us answers this easily? And then, what is the story with the artificial eye? And why all this mystery and contradiction in traits? And why all those contradictory hints that the writer planted over hundreds of chapters? Are we facing a real solution or a well-crafted trick? What happened in this chapter does not close the door, but opens it to a flawed path of ideas, theories, and possibilities that could turn everything upside down. In this segment, I will present to you a set of conflicting hypotheses that emerged from the heart of this contradiction, each carrying evidence from within the manga itself. Okay guys, today I will present the promised segment, a segment revealing the truth about Ram's identity, Wakita Kanenori, and Ram's real identity. The segment contains spoilers. A failure, and with his supporters, any person who reached this stage without having the facts spoiled. The first thing, guys, we will talk about is some points. Before we delve into the point about Ram and Nori's identity, it's the contradiction of Ram's hints in the story. Here I will talk about 4 points, but we will discuss 2 of them now, and the other 2 will come later, which is the idea of the artificial eye. Here, the writer pointed out that the artificial eye in the manga story of detectives in the real world actually exists. A white artificial eye, meaning this is a normal thing. So certainly, since you see an eye at that time, you immediately assume it is an artificial eye, but no. Why? Because you have the opposite in the same cases, in the same arcs, it's Shura Dahyui. And here we see that after the disaster that befell his eye and everything, he ended up with a white eye, a blind eye, the same idea in Attack on Titan with Levi Ackerman after he lost his eye. Did he get an artificial eye, the white eye we see now in the picture? Is it an artificial eye? No, it is his regular eye that became blind. Like any other eye, when it becomes blind, it turns white. I mean, if you just assume that, okay, the eye is white as an argument, it can be laughed at as much as it can be confirmed. So your idea is 50-50. 50, this is an artificial eye and this is Ram. And the other 50, this is a natural eye that has gone blind and therefore this is not Ram. Now we continue to the second contradiction, which is behavior and traits. Here, the behavior of how Amuro, and we know that Amuro is the most capable character in the Detective Conan manga in the story, able to gather information, the most skilled person in the organization, according to Gin's testimony in gathering information. So as long as Amuro said that Rum is an impatient person, then Rum is indeed an impatient person. Take it as a given. Thanks to our friends, I mean in...
A comment said that I put the same idea.
They told me no, but Ram learned from his learned from his mistakes. If he had learned from his mistakes, Amuro should have changed this approach. And here we see the contradiction. We saw how Wakata was not as hasty, not as rushed as we saw Ram in the chess competition and in the Amanda Hughes case. While Wakita was the opposite, Wakita is composed, Wakita is calm, and Wakita analyzes things before making moves, before taking action. And here, folks, we start with the idea that Wakita is not Rum, correct? Not Rum, but a substitute for Rum. This theory was very widespread and still hasn't lost its credibility. Why? Because simply, the idea of the alternative here is based on the concept of Kegebunshin. Many friends on Twitter and YouTubers relied on this idea. How? The Kagebunshin, which is the shadow clone, the Kamisha is compensating for Ram, and the Kagebunshin here is Wakita. The same idea used to happen before in Japan, where the emperor would bring someone who looks exactly like him to present as a front. He is the one who moves in front of people. He is the one who issues orders, decrees, does everything. But the truth is that the Japanese emperor is the one who guides everyone from behind the scenes, in the shadows, in the dark. And this is what we saw in the Ram chapter, in chapter 1056 when we saw it. Wakita Kanenori was clearly visible while Ram was brought by the writer in shadow, moving Wakita Kanenori. But the truth is that Wakita Kanenori was the one moving the organization at that time. Nerissa explained to you why we make this assumption, why do we propose this idea. If you come to explore the idea of Ram, you will find some questions that we have not yet answered. Okay, the writer gave you the answer in a vague way, shocked us with the answer, but did not explain why Wakita, all this question here. Why did Ram spread these rumors about himself? I mean that he is a strong man, an old man, or a man with a feminine appearance.
So here you are telling me, Babesh, to say at the anything were telling me, Baron, you raised or answered this point when you said that his job is to hide the emperor and protect him from assassinations and all political plots. But the problem is that here, Ram is the second member of the Black Organization. If you say that the second member of the Black Organization is threatened with murder, then we are talking about a major flaw in the structure of the Black Organization, which is at least impossible. The second question is, why does Ram use a voice changer when communicating with the Saudi organizer? Okay, so you're telling me, you're saying Baron, meaning you brought up the same idea. You answered this point when you said that Ram wants to hide his identity. Since he used a voice changer so people wouldn't realize if his voice was masculine, he's a young man, or the voice of an old man, or the voice of a man with a feminine appearance. But this is what he wants us to believe.
What if Ram did all these things just to mislead us?
Just because he acts like a movie, like a trick, he wants to deceive us into believing this. While the truth is that Ram brought someone more competent, better, and more capable than him to lead the Black Organization as Ram, and they took leadership together. Thus, we are here in a problem, an existential problem for the real Ram. Because if the Black Organization realized this, they would get rid of him and appoint a replacement as the second member so he wouldn't lose his position. Ram created all this confusion, and the evidence for this is the actions of Ekenori Aki that we just saw in the Black Organization. Indeed, he said the same phrase as Ram, which is, if my eye were as it was before, I would have recognized your identity from the first glance. But here there is a twist created by Aoyama. What is it? It is that he made us believe that Wakita Kanenori here refers to the special ability of Ram's left eye. What if Wakita Kanenori only means his eye? If my other eye were healthy, okay, I would have discovered that this person is Kamel at first glance, and he actually met Kamel with his eye lost. So he might mean that his right eye is also starting to weaken. Why? Because we know that any blind person with one working eye, it weakens and approaches blindness over the years. So if he doesn't use glasses, he will also lose his right eye.
Therefore, in this frame, often you have the wing. You know what frame he might be referring to his right eye. If his right eye were as sharp as it used to be, capable of seeing as it used to. For example, like 2 years ago, I would have realized that this is Andres' complete client. From the first glance, you also notice in the behavior that there is a difference between the actions of Wakita Kanenori and Ram, who appeared in the chess championship. And I'm not going to talk to you about the contradiction we mentioned at the beginning of the clip. No, because I'm talking about another point, which is that Wakita Kanenori, as we have seen now, deals with everything logically. I have information in front of me that I analyze and make decisions, and no detail escapes his notice. He heard a simple detail, as we saw with Kamel, a simple detail that he saw Kamel's phone, a new model. He connected that he hasn't received a call yet with some other points. He realized that it is Kamel's phone, a new phone, and that no one can contact him, and we will arrest him after the police finish uncovering the criminal. While the Ram that appeared in the chess competition presented something completely different. It confirmed to us that it does not rely much on its mind, but rather depends on the capabilities of his eye much more than the things we have seen now. It means that in the chess championship, he relied on his eye. What did he say to his opponent? And Kasaromi, I need to restore my right eye to its previous state. And he proposed a hypothesis if the drug is as I think. It means if the drug could really shrink people, then I could actually restore my eye to what it was. Here, you see how the book creates a paradox between Wakita Keno and Ram, who appeared in the chess tournament as if they were two different people in one person's guise. It means we have two people pretending to be the same person. Also, you are asking me, what is the identity of Wakita Kanenori? Okay, here Aoyama has complete freedom in choosing the identity of Wakita Kanenori. Either he is Ram's twin, may God bless, or Wakita Kanenori is the one that people might say you are making things up. You are supporting one camp at the expense of others. No, I am presenting you with ideas that can be proposed. Focus with me. The impact of chapter 1148 after this chapter. The idea that Wakita Kanenori is Tsutomu has become 1000% possible. I'm coming to you. This is a gift for you, dear viewer, a gift. I will reveal to you why Wakita Kakaj is Tsutomu.
If we go back now to 2 points, which are his relationship with it, or we show and talked about this at a time, about the impression, and I won't return to that idea, we saw the reaction of how the feeling of nostalgia, the reaction when he saw Hyper, as if he saw someone dear to him. And I won't delve into this further. The second idea is also the apartment title or apartment number 203. It refers to the chapter where the servant changes his appearance to the homeowner and lived in her form for years.
Also, the other idea is Ram. The one who appeared in the chess championship saw Haibara using surveillance cameras, but the writer did not reveal any point indicating that he knows Haibara or realized that this is Sherry or that he has a relationship with Haibara. So what changed between seeing her on the cameras and seeing her in reality, meaning between this chapter, which is 2008 or 2009, and chapter 1145, what changed?
The only thing that changed is the person. The person who was there is the person who was there and not the same person. Okay, it could be another person, who knows?
No. Now I would present you with something else that confirms the idea that he was, what is the sentence? And they broke it. No. We forced this Baron to fall. No. Look at what she said. And they broke it. Surprisingly, his voice is familiar.
Have we ever met Mr. Sushi Chef?
Look now at this, the sentence she said, and Kazuharumi indicates that she recognizes Kaninori's voice. And here I told you, Aoyama is playing a trick on us. It happened with you in the comments that Aoyama was making a trick because of this comment. I'll explain why Aoyama uses this sentence and Kazuha, making you think this person is Rum, who was involved in the Amanda event 17 years ago.
You know why?
Though, because I heard his voice in Hani's room.
Therefore, you now conclude that this is a member of the organization you met at that time. Yes, and here if you reach this conclusion, you fell into Aoyama's trap. You might say, how, Baron? I explained to you that Wakas only listened to Ram's voice, who participated in the event 17 years ago.
She actually heard the voice of another person in a flashback we also saw, which is Akai's voice. You tell me no. Does she realize she remembers Akai's voice? No, because when she met Akai in the past, she might now think he's dead, so she met him without the aura of the Black Organization. Focus with me without the aura of the Black Organization. But now, Wakasarumi met Nori, who is Tsutomu Akai, and she heard his voice when he wanted to save her from the monster that would appear later. At the time, when she met him, he was without the aura of the Black Organization. You ask me, what is the aura of the Black Organization? How is she able to perceive members of the Black Organization? She's also able to perceive members of the Black Organization. If there is someone from the Black Organization around Wakasarumi, she can sense them, not like Haibara from a few meters away, but from hundreds of meters away. Haibara, dies. The evidence for this is that Wakasarumi sensed the presence of Rum in both situations at different times. That is, during the chess tournament and in the Amanda Hughes case, before Rum even moved, he was still far from her. She was in the hotel and he was in a car watching the surveillance cameras. She sensed him the first time and covered her eye in front of Haneda, and the second time she also sensed him and covered her eye in front of the children. Look how far the distance was. And Wakasarumi sensed the same idea when she met Subaru. Wakasarumi's speech directed at Subaru was full of hatred, full of doubts. And this is justified because Wakasarumi, using her eye ability, realized that this Subaru, just like Haibara realized when she first met him, is a member of the organization, just as she sensed that Akai was a member because he was in the Black Organization, Wakasarumi. Of course, she would realize that Subaru is a member of the Black Organization, which is why she resented him. And if she hadn't met Subaru was with the children in a crowded area, like the beach, she might have confronted Akai slightly, and the same thing that happened with Amuro could have happened to him. Therefore, the writer saved Akai and made her meet him in a place like this. She felt that this person was an ally and realized this when he helped her to save her. Even her facial expressions towards Akai at that time changed seriously, and she thought about the same thing happening now. True, she remembered the voice of Tsutomu and Akai, but since she sensed the aura of the Black Organization surrounding him, she would assume that this is a member of the organization, that this person is him and he is a member of the organization, so she must eliminate him. I saw the trap that Aoyama set and saw these hints. These ideas lead us to the thought that Wakita Kanenori is a substitute for Rum, and thus it's logical to call him Rum-san. Then, if you follow this reasoning, you understand that it's logical. What we are witnessing now is logical.
Now let's move to the second idea is that Wakita Kanenori is indeed Rum, but he is not the real Rum. See how I confused you? Wakita Kanenori is Rum, but he is not the real Rum. You ask me, how did you come up with this idea, Baron? I will explain to you. If you take Kanenori's age, which is 36 years, and subtract 17 years to find out how old Wakita was when the events of Amanda Hughes happened, you find that Wakita's age now is 39 years. age is very logical and beautiful. Why? Because with Ram's abilities, you feel that this age is very suitable. If Kanenori is indeed Ram, then it fits. 39 years is fine, but now the difference begins. We said that 17 years ago, Wakita Kanenori was 39 years old, which is very nice. But 17 years ago, Haneda Kochi said to him, I saw your picture in the economic forum 30 years ago. I was passing through Karasumaren. Sakshaya Sumata Bei Aipetsata. The problem I saw, or the issue that happened, is that 30 years before that time, how old was Wakata Kanenori? Logically, Wakata Kanenori's age would be 39 minus 30, which would be 9 years. So how could he be only 9 years old? He goes to an economic forum, and we see him in the form of a person in their 20s or 30s. Also, you see the contradiction and such. At that time, he was 39 years old. But what did Amanda Hughes say to him?
She said to him, so you're 50 years ago, you are still a child at the Japanese billionaires party. You are still a child and they called you Ram. Isn't that right?
If he was 39 years old and 50 years ago he was a child called Ram, then you should add at least 10 years plus 11, making 21 years, to calculate Ram's age at that time to match Amanda's statements.
Look, the writer will answer you about this scene in the next chapter. Amanda told me that Ram is not a nickname, but a code name or symbolic name inherited from my father.
Oh, okay, you hear, inherited it from my father. And he's playing with words, saying, inherited it from my father. What does it logically mean? It means his father is dead, and Ram inherited the title, but no, he's playing with words. Inherited it from my father. You now, in our contemporary reality, in our current time, you can inherit from your father without your father dying.
If your father offers you something he owns and writes it for you, then you have inherited this thing from your father. For example, if your father has a car he wants to give you, he goes and writes it as a contract. I gave my son this car, so when you ask what will you say, he sold me my car. No, he gave it to you, so you say my father gave me a car. Give me the Arabic meaning or the common term that expresses this thing, which is that I inherited this car from my father. So when you say I inherited this title from my father, it doesn't necessarily mean the father is dead, and now it makes sense. 50 years before the Amanda Hughes case, that is 67 years before the current events,
Wakita Kanenori's father was still a 10-year-old child. After 20 years, let's say Wakita Kanenori's father got married, this young boy grew up and had a child. After 20 years, he became 30 years old. He had a son who is Wakita Kenzuri Jr., let's call him. 10 years later, Kenzuri's father participated in the economic forum. And here, Wakita was 10 in his 10th year. Let's say after about 10 years, the talent of Ain Ram was discovered. And it was discovered that Wakita Kenzuri has a deep talent and has powerful eyes in playing, in memorizing the image everywhere, which means useful. Thus, his father stepped down from his position, passed it to his son to continue this Ram, meaning this original Ram, serving that person. You see how now it makes sense. And this actually explains another thing for you, which is that the writer has presented you with two mysterious points of the story so far that have not been revealed. The old woman who appeared in chapter 190 and the old woman who appeared in chapter 1102. Both old men were clad in black. There is also another person introduced, and he is clad in black in the detective manga. Who is he? Let's say he is the real Rum who appeared in a chapter titled Rum. Connect the events together. If you have the old Rum and the other two old ones here to start with, let's say the search for the truth about the elders, how one of them is Ram. We talked about the truth of the others, so okay, it makes sense. Waki's father, Takedinori, is an elder who would now be 77 years old, which is the age of elders in the detective manga or in Japan in general. They consider someone an elder once they surpass 70, but in their 50s, they are still considered a young man.
In the prime of life. And this is what everyone says when they describe him physically. They say, I am still in my thoughts.
50 years old. The problem is that Igasa's appearance is what betrayed him. But still young. Okay, this is also an idea. With hints provided, you can reach the same voice to be a hint. And when I realized the same voice, as for this, it is the point that remains unclear in this matter. The relationship with Hiba. The reaction remains incomprehensible. But the rest, okay, I mean, very nice after we presented that it is not a Ram and he is a substitute. Then we said, no, he is a Ram, but a younger Ram. Now we present to you the last idea, which is that he is the real Rum and peace and blessings be upon him. Why are we making it so complicated?
Simply, it means we take the hints, apparently, the members of the black organization address him by his title. And how? Okay. And Kisaru remembers his voice, the same one from 17 years ago, which she heard in Dakoji's room with the black organization. The people who fear and dread him talk about his eye, how he lost it. He talks about his eye saying if it were to return to him, he would be able to stop and confront the enemies, etc. Thus, it simply becomes that he is the real Rum and may God bless him. I mean, why complicate it in this matter? It's just that the first idea is there. The second idea is with its madness. And the third idea, despite its simplicity, all three. If someone comes in a comment and tells me the ideas are wrong or that there is something funny in the ideas, meaning, aside from the other hints, if you have something wrong, feel that the presentation method makes the argument seem illogical, write to me in our comments. I'm ready for discussion.
But to tell me that my feeling is like this, no, this is it. And he has done a lot. And he has played on all the strings, putting in that Nuri is a substitute and can put any substitute here. The problem is that he brought you the idea that no, he has his father, and his father could be the first in the title and is still alive, and he will appear. Among the three old women at least, or their inability from the shadow, they become three old women. And I will touch on their topic in the last part of Small Land that comes to you without philosophizing. Do not philosophize too much about why all these ideas are platonic and nonsensical. Take the hints as they were presented to you on a golden platter, and it is real sand, and plant all the ideas in one plot. Everyone hinted at these points, and then he will consider anything. Some people will say, you're crazy, and we expected this. While all the ideas are beautiful, every YouTuber has worked hard, exhausted themselves, and put in effort to present you with a theory, whether it's a random theory or a credible one, providing their arguments. If they worked hard and got it right, they have 2 rewards. If they worked hard and didn't get it right, they have 1 reward. Well done for the effort and hard work. And we presented a beautiful idea, meaning imagine if there wasn't a theory that it is certain. If there wasn't a conflict between this idea and the other idea, that it is not real sand. Would this clip exist? Would this enjoyment in the discussions of the grill exist? No. A friendship and disagreement lead to enrichment and wealth, unlike what we do in the comments in the dialogue of now. Guys, you or many are asking, your perception here of the truth is the idea that your father is still alive. It was my idea. I started here in the clip, or the clip I might have uploaded about Ram on the channel, meaning it was...
This was the contradiction.
And imagine that I will continue to support my idea, even though I do not support all ideas. Why do I want to explain to you now why the value is that we are watching an amazing post that is speeding up the events of the story and taking you to the peak of our arcs. Now we are in tension, and how? If Lu and Yama want to finish and move on to the next saga, they will simply make it so, and that's it. May blessings be upon him. Because he wants to end this arc that lasted more than 10 years, from 2014 to 2023, 15 years, and we are discussing Ram's true identity, so maybe he wants to conclude this arc, and it makes sense if there was a trap, then tick tick tick, and it passes. Because when a mangaka always starts a new saga, they announce it to people. So if they declare that they have started the final saga, then really everyone needs to come out and declare, or at least announce that he is the real Ram.
But if these events pass and we end up with a new twist, another disaster, more difficulties, and the events continue to unfold and become more complex, reaching another peak, then know that he still wants to resolve the story and prolong the manga. Therefore, it will not end. Make his time a Ram. If you like to prolong your story, don't just come and say he's a Ram and get married. No, you want to milk the story. You want to bring in money. You want to drive the audience crazy. Therefore, you will make his time a Tininori instead of any of these points, just to shock the audience and attract more followers.
Oh guys, I think these are the most important ideas I presented to you. I provided a logical analysis, let's say neutral,
I didn't lean towards any theory. I presented all the ideas as they appear in the manga. In the story, you might say I didn't provide a lot of evidence or sprinkled with many chapters.
Yes, because on the channel, God willing, when I milked milking. This story, we talk about it in many clips.
To leave you at the end of this video with all of Rami's clips that I uploaded on the channel, agonized, yet you said ta. Yeah, and in the end, amidst this flood of hints and contradictions, the truth remains elusive. You see how we are still in suspense. Is he really Rum, or is he just a facade for a darker character? Is the deceit truly about to close Rum's reign, or is all this just a prelude to the upcoming shock? And here, I leave the ball in your court, guys. Now, in your opinion, give me or share your thoughts, ideas, and hints. Was the conflict between the two sides intentional to cause distraction here? Is the use of a different voice the biggest evidence of more than one Ram? Do you think Wakita is Ram's real son, or is he Ram himself? Or is Aoyama preparing for a bigger shock than all these possibilities? Share with me your crazy analysis and shocking predictions in the comments, because I am sure that some of your theories might even surpass what I presented in this video. Give us your opinions and share your ideas. As usual, the series of fan theories continues. Unfortunately, Aoyama blew it up this time. Honestly, there was supposed to be a segment responding to comments on the last 3 videos I posted, except for the idea of Ram and the leaks. It was supposed to continue editing and release everything. But as you can see, guys, with my life revolving around events, I honestly haven't found time even for myself. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share your opinions and comments again, because this either helps the channel or enriches this discussion. Send this video to all those who are stubborn or hold strong opinions about Wakita Kanenori regarding Ram. Okay, let everyone rethink their ideas and reorganize their energies and notes. See you in an upcoming video, God willing.